Welcome to the Sacred Skeptics Podcast. Only two things are required to be a sacred skeptic: the humility to say, I could be wrong, and the courage to follow the truth, wherever it leads. Dealing with current events, cultural issues, and spiritual questions. Here are your hosts, Rick Henderson and Mike Bell.
Hey, welcome back. We're excited to welcome into the studio with us Becky Bruce and Rob Lambert, and we're going to dive headfirst into the trending topic on Twitter, things only Christian women hear, and that's brought to us by a former guest on the show, Sarah Bessey. And if you haven't read her blog or any of her books, we encourage you to go check her out. We think she has some really helpful things to say and contribute to the larger Christian experience and evangelical conversation. But Becky, before we jump into any particular hashtag, and some of them made me wince, some of them made me laugh, some of them made me want to beat my head against the wall. As a Christian woman, what was your reaction as you read this, as it just exploded on the internet?
Preach, sister.
All right, you got it. All right. Now you preach for us. Tell us what are guys sometimes just kind of ignorant to, blind to, participating in that they don't realize? Maybe they do realize, maybe they don't realize. What are we missing about the woman's experience in evangelical culture?
Well, and to be fair, some of this is still very much an open debate, depending on which particular brand of Christianity that you observe. Women may not preach in your church, or
can I
may
say,
not be allowed to pass communion, right? And I'm not saying that I have the theological answer on that.
My wife is doing the sermon with me on Sunday.
I love that.
South Mountain Community Church, smccutah.org. All right, so you can
shameless
check
plug.
Hey, shameless plug. Hey, there's no shame with that plug. No, I'm excited. I'm excited to. We're doing a big message series called Love, Sex, and Dating, and I'm excited to have her perspective as we go over 10 next steps for people who want to get married.
Yeah. So things like, oh wow, you are really gifted in this area. Let's put you in charge of the kindergarten class.
They get goldfish crackers. I'm down.
Okay. Yeah. I know. I just want to double down on this again. I've tried to communicate it. I don't doubt anybody's experience. You tell me you've had this experience. Okay. I just accept that. I don't know on what basis that I would question anybody's experience. And so I know that sort of thing happens. I need more dudes in the I need more dudes in children's ministry. I need more dudes in that class, because you're not just watching kids, you're investing in the next generation. I want men and women in there. What are some others that might have jumped out at you? I'm going to read through some of these, and you just tell me.
Yeah.
Hey, she looks so normal after word got out that I was intentionally single.
Oh,
things
goodness.
only Christian women hear.
Yeah. Or corollary to that.
Yeah.
When are you going to start your family?
Oh, yeah. That's people, man.
And can I say this? As an infertile woman with an only miracle child, when are you going to give him a brother or a sister? It is none of your business. Do I ask you about your sex life? No, I don't.
My goodness.
Would you like me to start?
I would prefer you don't.
Okay.
I'd prefer that we'll just
well,
we'll leave that a mystery.
About
Yo,
yours,
I'm an open book,
then
let's
let's please not talk about mine. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And can I just say real quickly that Christianity is the first worldview in human history that honored single people, that honored and held up and celebrated this intentionally single lifestyle as a choice. Back in Roman culture, it was illegal to stay single. If you were widowed, you had to be married again within 2 or 3 years. You could not intentionally choose to be single. Christianity, the first worldview in history to actually promote and celebrate that, and somehow it snuck into Christian culture that everyone has to get married all the time. That's weird. I don't know where that came from.
Bro, when I was in college, man, ring by spring. That was the thing. When you came into the Christian school, they're like, ring by spring, bro. I'm like, yeah, it didn't happen for me. Okay.
Rob, did you use one of those cheesy Christian pickup lines?
Like what?
I don't know. Something like, God's been telling me that we need to get together, or, there's all kinds of like dumb ones that. I'm
afraid if I share the one that I have heard, it would maybe lose the clean rating.
Okay, well we can't give up our clean rating.
No.
Hey, a lot of the hashtags that were shared had to do with modesty and had to do with it being women's responsibility for men to not lust. And here's one that kind of made me laugh a little bit. Please wear a one piece so that boys aren't tempted. Let boys wear no top at middle school youth ministry summer camp.
Yeah. Okay. Now, as the parent of a miracle baby who's now 14 and in middle school, can I just say how much dress codes annoy me anyway? They are so sexist.
Okay.
And this is
Talk
not
to
just
us about that, Becky.
This is not just a
Unpack it.
Christian thing. Now, you and Mike were talking last week about, hey, if you're going to dress provocatively, you need to own that you are having an effect. And I hear what you're saying, but I feel like we also need to be stressing that boys have a responsibility in that. You know
I'm
what?
with you.
I'm trying to train my child not to be a jerk.
Yeah.
Is that unfair? So, like,
not unfair.
if I catch him staring at a girl, you know what? He's going to hear from mama.
That's right. No, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. And so what I try to teach my kids, and I'll start with my son, is listen, this is what modesty is. It's respect for yourself and it's respect for others. I want you to dress and present yourself in a way like you respect yourself and you respect other people. And so the caveat is, and I'm a real stickler for precision. So when I talk about modesty with my daughter, or when I talk about it from the stage to the women at the church, what I say is, if you're dressing in a way to intentionally attract sexual attention, you have to own that. I'm not saying if you dress in a way that attracts sexual attention, I'm attaching motive to it. And so that's what I want to be really clear about. Rob, you have a lot of experience with trying to attract sexual attention with the way you present yourself. You just got that face, man. I don't know how to look away.
You know, that's my cross to bear. The gift is a curse. You know, and luckily luckily for her, I said yes to one woman, so she's blessed.
There are a lot of disappointed women out there.
You know, that's probably true. Then you know, right?
That has something to do with why you guys moved to Utah. You had to get away from
California. It was becoming.
Was it uncomfortable?
It was dangerous. Let's just
Okay.
put it that way. It was dangerous. That's the only way to put it.
All right, so I want to drop a perspective on you guys, and this might be dangerous for me to do because I've never talked about it publicly. I've never written about it. I've never talked about it on stage. I've never even read anybody who advocates this perspective, which is a warning sign.
Yeah.
If you're the first person to say something, or you're the only person who says something, you're probably wrong. But I think, hey, a serious reading of Genesis means that men and women were originally designed to be naked around each other.
I like it already. And we're good.
I thought we
Thanks
were
for
talking
listening to
about our
Sacred
sex
Skeptics,
lives.
everybody. We'll see you next week.
Let me start over. Thank you, Rob.
Sorry, I apologize.
Thank you, Rob. A serious reading of Genesis means that men and women were originally designed to be naked around each other all the time, and yet only sexually desire their spouse. So that means that modesty is not an inherent good, that modesty is not an inherent value. Modesty is a construct in response to sexual brokenness. Now, it might be wise and it might be necessary, but it's a construct in response to people going rogue.
Yeah.
How does that hit you?
I hear truth in that.
Okay.
I hear some, and I think there's also a flip side to the modesty discussion too.
Yeah.
If we emphasize modesty, and I'm not saying I don't, I totally encourage my child to cover himself, right? But are we then also kind of teaching that there's something shameful about, and like preaching the opposite message by mistake?
Yeah, there's nothing shameful about, how you look. There's nothing how do I phrase this without making my own self uncomfortable? There's nothing shameful about the human body, period.
End of sentence.
And it's
Exclamation
end of
point.
sentence.
Mic drop.
And I just want to say, hey, although that I disagree with Samantha Field on quite a few things, I stand shoulder to shoulder with her on this, that there is a wrong way to talk about this that accidentally or maybe intentionally merely objectifies the body. We can't do that. That's wrong. We can't do that. And hey, I just want to say this real quick, especially in case Samantha Field might be listening and considering joining our show. We asked Sarah Bessie to join us. She says she's really busy. She can't join us right now. She's glad that our hearts are open to this conversation. And she says that she hopes that Samantha Field will come on the show. So Samantha, if you are listening and weighing out whether or not we're worth your time, we have the endorsement of Sarah Bessie. So do it. Come on. Hey, Another interesting aspect of this modesty thing is acting as though Christian men are in charge of everything except for their own thought life and sexuality. And I thought that was a real kind of stinging, witty insight into how things can go rogue in Christian culture. Becky, I'm curious, are there any more of the hashtags that really jumped out at you that you're like, hey, I've had experience with this? Or is there something that a Christian dude has ever said to you and you're like, either that guy has really bad beliefs or he's just really, really dumb?
Remember that one guy who said that he'd rather be told he was ugly than punched in the face?
Time.
Oh, man.
Yeah, well, the submit to your abuser prayer will change him thing.
Ooh,
so again,
yeah.
My situation was the exception, ladies.
And we don't believe that.
Right?
We don't believe
way.
that
No.
that's
No
true.
way.
Much like I would never tell you to pray diabetes away. I mean,
Yeah.
hey, pray about your condition. Have some faith. But I'm not going to tell you that there's going to be some miracle cure out there for you.
I do have some experience trying to pray a bad golf swing away.
How's that going
No
for you?
success.
No
No success.
You may not have enough faith. Just keep trying.
Yeah. So still a horrid golfer. Hey, man, that one was one that caused me, when I read that was one that really caused me to wince. What are people thinking out there?
I feel like people are twisting actual theology. The actual theology being wives submit to your husbands.
Yeah.
Right? That's scripture.
Yeah.
It doesn't say wives roll over and let him walk all over you.
Yeah.
Well, and if you
There's a difference.
yeah, and if you take it and you isolate it to just that phrase, wives submit to your husbands. That sounds pretty black and white, but with anything in the Bible, we have to take that and we have to weigh it against the rest of what Scripture says, the rest of the example of who Jesus was, and say, so what interpretation lines up with that? And so, do we look at wives submit to your husbands, and do we look at the rest of Scripture and say that sounds like submit to your abuser? I don't know if that's the way that I see it.
that
Yeah,
statement,
I'm pretty sure that's not in there.
That
Exactly.
statement comes on the hill. Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church.
Exactly.
Sacrifice for her, serve her, endure pain for her, do whatever you have to do for her good. And I think the New Testament is honest about the fact that there are things that men naturally get wrong, and there are things that women naturally get wrong, and there are things that men naturally get right, and vice versa. I find it interesting that there are verses throughout the Bible that says, hey, that whoever finds a wife finds a treasure and receives favor from the Lord. No verses like that about dudes anywhere in the Bible.
Yeah.
In that same letter from the Apostle Paul telling women, wives, submit to your husband, after telling husbands to love genuinely, sacrificially your wives, it says, dads, do not exasperate or lead your kids to anger. There's no verse like that for moms because it's a bigger problem with dudes than it is for women. Not that it doesn't ever exist.
Wives, if you
in
find
women.
a good husband, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Hey, listen, that's probably all the time that we have. Becky, I appreciate you're giving a voice and kind of coloring in some of our blind spots here. There are bad things in any culture. The big question that we have to ask ourselves, which we just don't have time to answer in this episode, is it a product of Christian culture? Is it a product of biblical teaching? Or is it something that broken people bring into it? And just to show my cards on the table, I think this is universal human brokenness, and that the more we take Christianity seriously, the more that these things will be remedied, just like that played a role in what happened in the redemption of your own family.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey guys, thanks for joining us, and we hope that you'll allow the conversation to continue by joining us on social media, especially participating in threads on our Facebook page.
Thank you for listening to the Sacred Skeptics Podcast. Visit our website, sacredskeptics.com, and interact with us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.